Anxiety. What does ours teach us about who we are and what we've been through? I had an incredible opportunity this evening to share at the Wanderers Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous meeting, and just an incredible group of people and people that I've known over the years in my 18 years of sobriety. And it got me thinking about anxiety because it may not seem it, but I'm terrified of crowds. I'm very shy and I'm not a fan of public and meeting people that I don't know. I deal with it because it's kind of, what we have to do and who we want to be. But our anxiety is really something that can be overwhelming. It can be debilitating. So I wanted to share this with you tonight quickly. And I'm unpacking so much from this meeting as I'm talking to you. So sorry it's taking me a while to get to the point. What I learned in 18 years of being sober and working with addicts and sharing at meetings and working in recovery is a couple of things. First and foremost, our anxiety is a gift. It's a most wonderful gift to be able to feel, because I spent decades chasing, trying to feel while I was drinking. I would go out and get drunk at a bar and then come home and put on the television and watch a series. I was fascinated about financial series of firms, about investment firms, law firms, anything which had high drama, and I would continue drinking. I would open a bottle or a box of wine, and I would get even more drunk, trying to desperately connect to the feelings that were on the screen in front of me, trying to feel, doing anything that I could to try and feel. And what I was doing in the anything that I could, in reality, was actually breaking any chance, any opportunity that I had to feel, because I was numbing myself. My alcohol, my drug, was just numbing me and disconnecting me from who I was. I wasn't learning how to feel. Feeling is a skill. That really is true. Feeling is a skill. Being able to feel and being able to feel effectively and being able to feel appropriately is a skill that has to be developed. And like any skill, it must be practiced, and we've got to struggle with it, and we've got to push through it, and we've got to work really hard with it. So just having that ability to feel, to have anxiety, and for me, my anxiety is always at its highest, and particularly in early recovery when I fly, because in an uncomfortable environment, if there was alcohol or something that made me uncomfortable, I'd leave and go home and go to my safe space. You can't leave an aeroplane when it's up in the air and go to your safe space. They don't like that. So I had to learn to deal with my anxiety. One of my other challenges is I have difficulty reading. I struggle to read. So I started to read Psalms, which in Hebrew, in Judaism, is called Tehillim. And the English is that old English where thou doth wentest forth. So it's really hard for me to be able to read that. But in that struggle, I was able to occupy my brain and read the Psalms, and that completely took all of my focus so I could relax about the flying. What I wanted to touch on tonight about anxiety is that it can give us so many wonderful gifts. It can reconnect us to our pain, to our trauma when we first felt it. What I've learned over these years of working with addicts, working in recovery, being in the rooms, is that for me, we feel our pain. We feel our anxiety. And for me, it's around my chest. It's a tightness. It's a shortness of breath. It's like someone's coming over my shoulders and squeezing them. The fingers are coming in here. I feel like I'm being crushed. I'm being squashed. And when I feel that, I feel like there's a panic attack coming on. I'm being smothered. I can't breathe For me, my anxiety is being in a duvet covered so I can't see what's going on, and people outside me have baseball bats and are beating me with these bats. But the problem is I don't know where the next blow is going to land. Could be my head, my ribs, my back, my leg. And the chest gets tighter, the pain in my shoulders get tighter, and I get crushed into a little ball, and I feel immobile. I feel like I can't move. I feel paralyzed. That's my anxiety. Where that comes from, over the years, I've worked on this. And where that comes from for me is the first time I experienced the abuse. And physically, what I was feeling at the age of 6 is what I feel as an adult when I feel my anxiety. And it took me many years of work to connect those two dots, to put those two things together, and to understand that my pain and my trauma is connected to that anxiety that I'm feeling now. So what I'd like you to do, the next time you feel anxious, or even now, sit and think and feel as soon as you can. Where do you feel your anxiety? What does it make you feel? When do you first remember feeling that? Unpack it and go right back and sit with it and feel it. And when we start to understand that, what I've learned really is, for me, my anxiety, and in my discussion with people in recovery, is it's the same thing for them, that our anxiety is actually a memory of what we felt as a child when we first felt helpless, powerless, abuse, trauma, suffering, pain, that intense, overwhelming feeling that a child should not experience, because we don't have the ability as a child, or anyone really, depending on what your trauma is. We don't have the skill set to deal with it, so we feel overwhelmed. And that feeling, that memory of feeling overwhelmed and not knowing what to do and how to deal with it, that becomes our anxiety. And that's what we feel as adults. This is what I've experienced, and this is what I've shared with others, and they've experienced too. So we start to look at our anxiety as just a memory resurfacing, those feelings flooding back, not something new. It's feelings flooding back from when we were young, when we were a child. Thank you for the heart. And we have to learn to go back to when we first felt that, understand it, give ourselves the kindness and the love and the support that we need to look after that child that's feeling that, and then bring it back into the present. I found for me that's worked incredibly well. It's my understanding that my feelings, what I'm feeling, is not going to kill me. What I'm feeling has no consequence in my life. It only has consequence if I act on it. Our thoughts and feelings are not taxable. My wonderful therapist, Raina Leib, taught me that. Only our words and actions. So go back, unpack. Where do you feel your anxiety physically? When did you first feel that? And if you say, when I was 12, when I was 8, keep going back as far as you can. And then you can start to heal that pain, that trauma as an adult. And we can go back and help that child inside of us heal. It's a wonderful gift, our anxiety, because it shows us where we need to go to heal. That's the thing, huh? Our pain is there to show us where we need to go, what we need to go into in order to heal. If we don't know where we need to go to heal, how can we heal? Thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. I love you guys. Oos. And don't forget to journal. Write this down. Write down where and what you're feeling.